up, Moto fam? No vlog today. We're actually just doing a quick review and install of a Fender Eliminator that I got from a nice gentleman on eBay. He goes by the username creese1, that's C-R-E-E-S-E-1, and he is selling a high quality Fender Eliminator that I just wanted to give you some details on today. Now, please note that I kind of messed up and ordered the wrong Fender Eliminator, so don't blame him, it's not his fault, but I ordered one thinking it would work with the factory license plate light, and it doesn't. It's supposed to use an LED that he sells, and that was my fault. I really think this is a great product. It's made and sold in the USA, so you don't have to worry about waiting a month for it to get there. But I'm going to show you a couple of different versions of it and how I modified mine to make the factory license plate light work with it. Alright, so this is the actual Fender. I was going to show you how to disassemble it entirely, but then when I went to go put it back together, I realized I lost some of the pieces. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through. If you're like me and you've never worked on a bike before, it looks a lot worse than it is. When I first looked at it, I was like, that looks really complicated, but it's not that bad. Like, you just take a couple of screws out here, and there's a screw on each side. They're kind of hard to get to, but you can see right there, you take that screw out, and then this little piece pops off, and then there's another little metal piece in there that you pop out, and then you can just take it out. So then that little screw comes out. You want to keep all these pieces. You still need all these pieces. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly today. That little guy pops out right there. And then this, you just kind of work it out. It's just like a soft rubber, and it has a lip on it. And when I got these out the first time, I didn't have to, but I was told you can take a hairdryer and see, got it. But you can take a hairdryer and blow it around the edge of it, and it'll soften it up, and it makes it easier to take it out, makes it easier to put it in the metal piece as well. Alright, so this is the blinkerless version of the Fender Eliminator. So if you're not going to use stock blinkers, or if you've got an integrated tail light that's got the blinkers built into the tail light, this would be the one that you would order. Again, I'm not going to put links in the description because YouTube punishes YouTubers for sending traffic to other websites. What I will do is put the seller's eBay name in the description, and then you can just look him up on eBay and find the bracket that you want. Now, obviously this one's a little easier to install. You've already got an integrated tail light. You don't have to worry about your blinkers and stuff because that's all going to be built in. And this is basically just hold your license plate and the LEDs for it. Now, that's another issue with the plate that I ordered originally, which is the one that uses the factory blinkers, is I didn't realize that you had to have this LED for it, and so when I got it in, I didn't order the LED, and that was my fault. I should have paid closer attention. This will not work with the factory license plate light. You got to drill it out, and that's pretty much what I ended up deciding I wanted to do with mine. And now that it's drilled out, I don't really have the option of going back to this because it's a lot smaller. It would just look weird, but that's okay. I like the way it looks, and I'll show you that in just a second. Alright, so you can tell the difference here. This is the one that I ordered that has the pieces for the factory blinkers. And then this is the other piece that he sent me that's just the license plate holder. Now, this one originally looked just like this, and it's designed for that LED that I showed you earlier. Now, I've started working on this. This isn't really finished. This is actually a pretty well-built product. It's actually really thick and heavy. Like, I can actually pick up the rear of the bike with just this piece without bending it. It's pretty heavy duty, and so it's actually kind of hard to drill through this. If you've got a drill press and a good set of drill bits, no problem. But I don't. I just have crappy ones, and my drill is just a hand drill. So I'm still trying to work it out to make it perfect, but I'll show you how that looks when I'm done. Another thing you'll notice in the pictures it has this little piece here, and I've already pried that piece out, and I did that, you know, long before I knew I was going to do a video on it. So, and another thing is these little nubs that stick up. Again, if I had like a really good grinder or something, I could have ground that out without scraping the paint off and stuff. So that was my fault. That's not their fault. I did talk to the seller, and he said that he is going to update this to where these tabs aren't as big when you break it off, so that you won't have to sand it down. So anything you order from the time this video is made forward, they're not going to stick out that far. So he's addressing that issue. That was kind of why he sent me this for free, is because these weren't really perfect, and he's a perfectionist, and hey, that's a good thing. It's a good thing for a seller to be. So I'm gonna work this out and sand it all smooth, and I've got some truck bed liner that I'm gonna spray it with. It'll be a nice durable finish when I'm done with it. Also, if you want to do this mod yourself to this bracket, where you can make the factory license plate light work with this bracket, whenever you take this off of the factory fender, it'll have these little plastic nubs sticking up, and I just kind of cut them off a little short so that this kind of acts as a bushing when you attach it to this. The only issue I have right now is these holes aren't quite big enough, so I've just got to widen those out, and then I'll show you how that's upside down. I'll show you how it all goes together. Alright, so I've got my Fender Eliminator cleaned up pretty good. I'm now applying this Duplicolor bed armor. It's like a spray and bed liner from a can, and this is not an endorsement from Duplicolor. They're not paying me to say any of this. I've used this several times and it's worked out really well. Alright, so there's our Fender Eliminator there, hanging out to dry. I'm probably going to let it hang there for another hour or so, and then apply a third coat, and then let it hang out here overnight. Welcome back, Moto fam. It is a new day today, and as you can see, we've got it painted up with the truck bed liner. Looks pretty good. So last time I did this, I just kind of squeezed it in there, and it was kind of hard to do. I kind of mentioned that to the seller, and he gave me this idea. He said use a hair dryer or a heat gun. This is a really crappy heat gun. It's even got pieces rattling around in there, but it still works. Works really well. I'd say you could probably do this with a hair dryer, but let's give this a whirl. Just kind of heat up the rubber so that it's more flexible. Alright, so we heated it up. We got it forced into place here. The next step, and this is probably the most difficult step in the process, depending on how you do it. Now, I kind of learned a little trick. Now, here's the thing. This piece is metal, whereas your fender is plastic. So the plastic on the original fender flexes where this will fit in there real easy and tight and snug. But then it also flexes when you put this little metal retainer in there. But because this doesn't flex, because it's not plastic, it's metal, it makes it a lot more difficult to get these in. So I kind of shaved it down a little. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Kind of shaved it down a little on each side. I just used a hand file. It only took a few minutes. You could use an air grinder and buzz it off in just a few seconds, but just kind of shave the sides down just a little bit. The way that I've found it's easiest to slide it down in there is to put it about halfway by hand, and then use a screwdriver on that tab to push it in. Just like that. Just hold that down over the rubber. Screw it in. There you go. That's a lot better fitment. Alright, I'm not going to bore you guys with me doing the other side. I'm just going to do it and come back to you in a minute. Alright, and there we go. Got both sides installed, clipped down, good and tight. Nice and sturdy, ready to put on the bike. Now this next part, you got to take your, of course, permanently attached light plug. Feed that through the hole. And then you've got to feed that piece through this hole. Now, unfortunately, I didn't really have a big enough drill bit, so I'm going to kind of have to force it through. But if you got a big enough drill bit to drill a bigger hole than I did, then you can just pop it through, no problem. But it does have to go all the way through. So I'm just going to use a screwdriver here and kind of manipulate it. Alright, so we got that through. Now we just need to weed our blinker lights back through. And voila! Now we just gotta fix this guy up. Alright, so we've got our factory housing here with our cut down little stubs. I showed that in the video yesterday. You got to cut them down a little bit so that these bushings actually are flush up against this panel. But as far as this part goes, it just kind of clicks on in there. It's got some little tabs you can watch for. But you just push it in there until it's flush and it's in those tabs and it's ready to go on the bike.
And that's it for today's video. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.